Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. It's Monday, it's another week, and we are off to the races. I don't know about you, but I've had about 3 Fridays and a Saturday night together. It seems like this weekend it was a big one. And it just seems like there was a lot of stuff that you wouldn't want to have to deal with, but also mostly first world problems. If you're a subscriber to our newsletter, we apologize. There's been a delay in sending it. We've got to find a new newsletter partner for the Rise Up Morning Show, it looks like. Hey, thanks, Deal Finder. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. We are so glad that you're here. If you're here to learn about blockchain, if you've got questions about cryptocurrency, you've come to the right place. My name is Evan, and together with my good friend and colleague, Mr. Alex Popovich, we do what we can to help the everyday people just like us learn about blockchain in order to rise up and write a better future, because make no mistake, it will be so much more than crypto. The way that your smartphone does so much more than phone calls, and we are here behind the scenes helping you make it real. We did a lot of stuff last week with how do you spot a scam? How can you get on a decentralized exchange to purchase crypto or turn your cryptocurrency back into US dollar bills if you're a citizen here or somewhere else in the world? What are the tools, the tips, the regulations, the legal guidelines that you need to follow? And generally, we try to tell a better story than the influencers you see as you scroll through this app who only want to tell you what tokens you need to buy to become rich quick. Because that is not the way. They are not your teachers. And there's just so much more to learn. And we can have a lot more fun doing it staying safe. Alex is getting his coffee, and while he's doing that, go ahead and leave me a little message. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know what questions you have about cryptocurrency and what you've been hearing about it. There's no such thing as a dumb question here. I think a lot of influencers, a lot of people who are sharing information in this space, in addition to telling you what to buy, they can try to make you feel dumb for asking good questions. This is the kind of place where we like to slow things down and go step by step in order to help you feel like you can get a grasp on this. Because as Alex often says, are you a mechanic? No. Has it ever kept you from driving to the grocery store? Of course not. And in fact, I bet you'd know 2 or 3 things that make a good automobile. Cryptocurrency is just like that. You don't have to be a computer nerd. You don't have to be a financier to understand what it is, why it matters. BlackRock has entered the conversation. They're talking about the tokenization of real world assets. What does that even mean? Hint, it has to do with cryptocurrency. And it's important. It's going to touch almost every area of your life. So understanding it now, even if you don't get involved, it can set you up to help your friends and family out, or just feel like you're a little more close to the ground as the world continues to shake itself up. You know what I'm saying? Deal Finder, thank you very much for the gift, and welcome from Ohio. We have a lot of friends and community members from Ohio, and I want to let you know that too. Alex and I are here every Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, but you can also find us online when we're not here. We have a fantastic free community of people just like you, just like us, learning about cryptocurrency. And not all of them work inside the industry like we do. Most of them are teachers or artists or parents, and they all, from all places in the globe, really, it's a pretty robust, rich community, are just trying to do better, to share what they know, to ask their questions, learn and grow together. You can find all the links for that community at the riseupmorningshow.com. You can sign up for our newsletter, which when we find a partner or resolve our issues with Mailchimp, we'll continue to deliver the best bits from our show every week in a super digestible form, because you can't always tune into 4 episodes of a show a week. That's a lot of streaming, right? But it's the best, briefest bits from our show where we post medium-length tutorials on things like how to read a blockchain explorer or how to conduct due diligence of a cryptocurrency token before you purchase it. And it's got the links to our free Discord community where Alex, myself, our colleagues, and our friends hang out, and you can ask us a question that isn't limited by a couple of characters like they do here on TikTok. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. We're grateful to have you, and Alex, it's good to see you too, man. We're going to get right into it. Alex, how you been, man?
Good. Good. Can't
Since
complain.
we wrestled with Mailchimp last night.
Yeah, I think your email to them was entirely too polite, first of all.
I was internally just screaming. I was ready to throw something, maybe my own body, like at the wall. It was
Yeah. I
so so disheartening. They let us. I think that's why our links didn't work. If I'm being
Probably.
honest with you, before now that I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it, I think they were
I
crypto links.
spent a little bit of time last night just kind of going through some like other options.
Well,
So
and we're getting a couple in the chat here too. What were the ones you went through? Was it Send in Blue? Deal Finder says, and Mailer Light. I got to write those down.
I saw Send in Blue. I
Okay.
didn't see Mailer Light. I know that that one that we had found earlier, Email Octopus, is like one that actually mentions specifically Web3 stuff. So I made like a tester account over there, and I'm gonna dig around a little bit today because they also have um, something explicitly in their like sign up, I don't know, process where you can
Yeah,
like
onboarding.
take from Mailchimp, like move your thing from Mailchimp, and I was like, say less.
Say less. Yeah, dang, no kidding. Well, thanks for the suggestions and thank you for looking. Uh, it's just the glasses. Somebody said in the comments we look alike, or maybe it's because we spend so much time together that we're starting to look like each other now. Which is,
I mean,
Alex is a handsome guy, so
we do wear this little rough for wear this morning. Rolled my
yeah,
ass on the bed.
I don't take any offense to that whatsoever. Um, we appreciate the suggestions in the comments. If you've got the hookup, let us know, because the too long didn't read is, Alex and I, we just launched this newsletter last week as a way to try and just reach people where they are. Not everybody can watch the show, so we want you to get the best bits from the show, all the links and stuff. And we spent a lot of time putting it together. Got a great template going for it. Got a good process down, and last night issue 2 is ready to go. Feeling so fine, and we got hit with that beautiful email of we're suspending your
Yeah,
newsletter.
sweet,
It
thank
was
you.
like the record scratch of a Sunday night, just crashing down on you, man. So Jim says he's used both. Had trouble sending to all on his contact list. I don't like Mailchimp. Lots of hate for Mailchimp. Listen. We're gonna try and work it out with them, and also look into alternatives. If you're on the newsletter mailing list, be patient. Thank you for your patience. And if you're not on the newsletter mailing list, hey, do this for me at the link in my bio, at the link in Alex's bio, and at the riseupmorningshow.com. It's hard to miss. Super simple. Take you 10 seconds. Name and email. Sign up for it. Even if you're not a newsletter person, because I am not, um, you can send it to your, whatever folder. It really helps the show to have a strong mailing list. And frankly, because we hate newsletters so much, I think we made a really great newsletter. Like, I would not be mad about receiving this newsletter. It's got over 2 dozen links to either content on other platforms, or products that we use, that we go over in the show, everyday stuff like Dex Screener, Token Snipper. The Bonk Bot is on there, so you can just find it, one click, get set up, ready to go. Our interview with Angel is in there. I also linked to Magic Internet Money's channel. He was on our show last week talking about technical analysis. So it's definitely, I think we're making it more valuable all the time. And I love this suggestion from Deal Finder. It would be cool to do a review on a Web3 email system like Ethermail or email as a wallet. My short answer to that is I was really into trying to find protocols for our newsletter. And just previous to that, I was, my own personal consumer crypto interest led me down a rabbit hole of stuff like Mirror, which is sort of like a medium alternative where everything is tokenized. Um, I was also interested in what were Soul Mail is one Alex is checking out. Um, the ENS domains have an interesting sort of mail protocol, but all of it felt very like uh, America Online in 1995 to me. It felt like the only people who are on it are people who are, like us or nerdier. And we're really trying to find something that most of our audience is probably older than 30. Many of them are older than 40 or 50. And a lot of them, while technical, are not like working in tech. And we work in tech, and we're not very technical most of the time. It seems like, So we want people to feel included, to feel welcomed, and don't want them to have too high a barrier to entry. So please keep the suggestions coming, and you can email us too. Really, we're trying to be easy to reach. If you've got an idea, a good joke, word of wisdom, whatever, leave it in a comment on our profile, leave it on YouTube, leave it in the Discord, or email us. riseup@facelesslabs.io. Yeah, Deal Finder says Thor network is the protocol. Yeah, so like, you, you know, um, hey Weber. Oh, you guys are so great. Thank you for all these suggestions. I'm writing them down. Okay. Alex, we were talking today about continuing on with the tools of the show, and I don't want to get too distracted on our email hunt. You guys are kind to give us tools, but we want to give you some tools too. So we looked at Deck Screener, we looked at the Bonk Bot, we've looked at Token Sniffer, we've learned how to read a blockchain explorer, and so would love to know what tools you still have questions about. Of course, if you have questions about other stuff, that's what we're here for. We're happy to answer them. But Alex, what are you kind of thinking? Where would you like to start?
Well, I thought we'd do something we haven't done in a smidge and do the old news, the news scan.
Do the old news scan. Why not? Why not? I do like scanning for the news.
And then I was thinking, we've used a lot of these tools to kind of diagnose the memes, but the memes are sort of tired right now. And I think that they could very easily run again when the market is a little bit less dancing on the edge of a knife kind of thing. But perhaps we look at some other non-meme related projects, kind of range from the smalls to the mids to the bigs. And just because there's a lot more that I know a lot of other people are interested in.
Yeah. We got a great one, a suggestion along that line in the comments. We can go through identifying how decentralized the network is. That could be fun, because everybody's always like, "Oh, dude, it's decentralized. The blockchain, it's decentralized." What does that even mean, bro?
Yeah, I think that most things, decentralization is a spectrum, right? Nothing is 100% decentralized, and lots of things have like a couple elements of it. And yeah, that's definitely like that's a favorite method of promotion and marketing and advertisement in the crypto space, is to pick the thing about them that's decentralized and promote that, and kind of ignore the rest of it. But yeah, no, I like that, because there's a lot of interesting debates you can have about, how decentralized is decentralized enough, how necessary is it, pros, cons, blah, 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 all that good stuff.
Yeah, there's a saying in the Ethereum community that something is sufficiently decentralized. And I find myself saying that a lot when we're talking about, as you say, the spectrum.
That's a good way to put it.
Nothing is ever going to be pure decentralized all the time. But is it sufficient for our purpose? Is it helpful?
Well, and two, like, what are the elements that could theoretically, move the needle towards the centralization side of the spectrum that maybe don't actually do it? Like, for example, I'll just use Cardano as an example, because they have elements of decentralization, but they also, I think, no matter how far like they were to push towards the side of the spectrum that is decentralized, you still got Charles. So even if the protocol could become perfectly decentralized and you still have Charles, can it ever actually be? Because if he, quit, or if he, lost his mind and decided that he hated Cardano now, and
he became a Nazi or
over to something else, the network would suffer greatly because of that one individual's now decision. So, just like being the person of influence and existing kind of remove some of your decentralization as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Then let's peek through a couple of news headlines, and I'm going to pull up some resources. I have an idea about. I want to talk about, for example, maybe Warpcast, because that's a good. Is it decentralized?
Sure.
Someone else said, let me read you this. These two look like the same fella from a different time.
Is it just because we're both white and we're wearing the same glasses?
And we have, some facial hair, and he's like the married version. I don't know. I don't think we look that much. Maybe it really is. We're in a frame box.
I
It's
mean,
the. I don't know. I don't know, man.
I don't particularly think we do. I do, you can't really get a full picture on a TikTok live. Like for example, it was through TikTok for a while before I actually even got to meet Evan, and I had no clue he's like 17 feet tall.
No, man. I'm like maybe like 15.
Maybe
I think if
15
people
feet.
saw us standing next to each other in person, I think they'd be like, "Oh no, no, you guys are different." We
The
stand different, we move differently, and
point is I had no clue. I had no clue how tall this dude was. And then we met and I was like, God damn it. I met him and Mason together at the exact same time. And we were also with Mac, and I was just like, I've never felt like the short person before, but all of them are just like north of 6'2".
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. And Mason's like 6'5",
Mason's
so
like
he's
6'5".
he's tall, he's
Yeah.
gangly.
Yeah. Had no clue about any of it. I was just like, God damn it.
You know. So okay, newsman, Crypto
Yeah.
Panic Man. This show is not sponsored by Crypto Panic, but it could be.
It
It's a
should
helpful
be.
news aggregator, and if you want some crypto headlines that are
It
kind
should
of
be.
Reddit style, who likes what, what's trending, what's upvoted, we find it to be pretty helpful.
On that note, I was gonna make a video. I've been trying to plan with like how to word this one because it's not a particularly great video, but I think it's worth sharing anyway. We've never been sponsored, but we would really like to be. And so we're kind of trying to, move the show in that direction to where we could make a case to some of the brands or companies or organizations that like we genuinely enjoy that we would like to be sponsored by, because I've been offered a lot of sponsorships and I always turn it down because it's always from the stuff that like in no good faith could you ever come on and advertise, like, hey, we'll pay you whatever. Here's the script and here's the crypto. And then you read and it's a total piece of garbage. And I'm
A
like,
disaster.
if I talk genuinely about this thing, you're not going to be happy with the results. So I'll just say no. But I sent out a couple little messages. I'd really like to upgrade the streaming setup so that we can go on more than one platform. Evan needs some technology that was built in the last 100 years. We need to get Evan into at least the 20th century with regards to his tech. So emailed out a couple of proposals to some different brands like that. Yeah, I'm excited. It's we'll see. This is the year. This is the year for sure.
Yeah, the year of sponsorship, the year of the sponsor.
Okay. Well, there's a ton. This is one thing I've noticed about Crypto Panic lately is that they are way more prolifically updating, and they're pulling from a lot more places than they were last bull run. I mean, there's pretty much like a story every 2 or 3 minutes that gets uploaded here, is what it looks like right now.
Wow. And I wonder, I honestly wasn't paying that much attention to it last bull run. So I don't, it was
Mm-hmm.
not, I watched it mostly through the Discord, but I wasn't really looking at it from our perspective of like, hey, what's the news doing all the time? And is this a great, site for our news for our listeners?
Yeah. So let's just get started with
Okay.
this is a fun one. Binance is going to be discontinuing support for the USDC stablecoin on Tron.
That's
This is
very
not the
niche.
first time I've seen a Tron product removed, but Binance doing it is a little bit bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very interesting. What does it say? Does it give any reason for why they're deciding to do it? Because that's my
Let's see.
question. And while you look for it, let me say, I highly recommend. I heard an excellent interview on Bankless recently, where they interviewed Justin Sun of Tron fame, and
Mhm.
they asked him some tough questions and kind of held his feet to the fire. And I was surprised with how delightful he was to listen to and how polished he seemed. Sometimes when you hear interviews with controversial people, it's very like PR scrubbed, like they're allowed to say certain things and they're upset if
Yeah.
you ask them. But he just seemed very congenial. It was very informal. And he shared some stats about Tron I didn't know. Around the world, their use in terms of volume and stablecoin transactions is actually pretty big. They support
No,
a lot of cryptocurrency transactions.
yeah, it's a weird one. I definitely recommend like reading a little bit about it just to familiarize yourself with it because they get talked about a ton. But one of the things that I always noted, like, so from my perspective, for the years that I've been in crypto, I've never really heard like a ton of overwhelmingly good stuff about Tron, right? Like it's always kind of talked about in the light of being a little sketchy, a little seedy, whatever. There's some questions about, maybe treasury composition or um,
Yes.
all kinds of other practices, whatever, it's just sort of sketchy. And Justin Sun is a very polarizing figure in the space. But then you go to like any conference, and we went to a lot in
Enough.
2022. I mean, between the three of us, I think we probably went to 15 conferences in that year.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I noticed as a recurring theme was that Tron always had so much representation at these. I mean, this makes even less sense, right? When you think of big NFT ecosystems, do you think Tron? Because I don't.
No,
But
no, not at
at
all.
NFT NYC in 2022, which was a massive conference, it was
Yeah.
humongous. Tron not only had a booth, but they had like an entire floor at the conference center. And there were so many people like representing Tron and working. I mean, the booth was humongous. They had the whole floor decked out. They had, and if you went in there and tried to like, find something specific that you could like learn about, talk about, what are they here for? It was really hard to find anything. It was just sort of like people there wearing Tron merch, and that was kind of it. It was so weird, and that's not the only conference we've seen that at. So it's interesting because so Binance is basically, like I said in the comments here, ending support for the TRC20 standard, which along with it will take the USDC stablecoin issued on Tron. And I know that Circle has been Circle has stopped minting new tokens on Tron as well.
Really?
Which, yeah, that was a little bit. I know that the two of those decisions kind of went hand in hand, and I know that there was. I'm trying to find a link out because I know there was another recent headline about something else ending support for Tron, but
I'm really curious to learn more about why, because in this interview, that one of the questions they asked him is like, who are your top mentors, or who do people look up to you in terms of like your crypto OG, Justin Sun, but who do you look up to? And the first person he said was CZ. And it sounds like they have had a distant, close relationship. Like it doesn't sound like they spend time together, but it sounds like he really has learned a lot directly and mostly indirectly from Justin Sun, or from CZ. And I don't know what CZ thinks about Justin Sun. So, and I don't know, if his opinion of Tron is influenced by his opinion of Justin Sun. But it's super interesting. It's like a soap opera. It's like you said, how
yeah.
decentralized can something be when you've got a guy like Justin Sun whose face is on everything? And he acknowledged as much in that interview. He said, we're really trying to move away from like putting me as like the Tron guy. He seemed very humble about it, honestly. I didn't expect him to be as humble as he came off in the interview. But
I mean, you have to like ask yourself then, how much of it is an act, or is it even at all?
yeah, I got the sense that either this guy is a super smooth operator, and
Yeah.
we should absolutely pay close attention, because like that's how I would be. If somebody caught me that way. I've been training for this interview my whole life, and you would never suspect a thing. You know what I mean? But he could just be a nice guy. My jury is out on it, really, truly.
Because it's I don't know. It's just weird. Because actually, I want to know what's Tron's like price been doing as a result of all of this. So they're still number 16. They're not down any more than anybody else. 10.5 billion in market cap, and it's multiple things. You got Binance dropping support, Circle. So this is what it was. Circle announced just about a month ago that they were ending support for the USDC stablecoin on Tron, citing compliance and other functions across the company. And then following that announcement, they stopped minting TRC20 token standardized USDC, and they advised users to seek alternative chains as they gradually exit the network. So I guess they're still working on that. So Binance, is kind of in that chain of gradual exit. Users have 12 days to convert, transfer, or withdraw their TRC20 tokens from Binance, after which USDC deposits and withdrawals on the exchange will only be possible via other supported networks.
I'm sorry, how many days?
12.
That's what I thought you said.
Now, interestingly, I'd have to, we'll take it at face value in this article here, but this is something that you can look up. Tron is the second largest blockchain by total value locked.
Yeah.
$9.688 billion at the time of this press release.
Yeah.
According to DeFi Llama.
And a lot of that is stablecoin transfer. People who are holding stablecoin reserves preparing to transfer it.
Yeah.
So it seems like a chess move by CZ. Who knows why? Would be curious to know. Blockchain Monkey says shorts incoming. Yeah, this is not good news. Any way you shape it for the short-term financial future of Tron Network, I would imagine they're going to have to respond to this somehow.
You know what's interesting? I was just thinking, because this is not the only piece of bad news in the news today, and these articles, not that long ago, would have gotten just a ton of downvotes, a ton of it would have caused a crash, and it's really intriguing that here we are in a bearish moment within an overall bullish market. There's crashes in bull markets constantly. I had a really interesting comment the other day that at first I dismissed as, some nut job. And then I was just, that's a really interesting theory. And basically, the theory was, oh no, this is still a bear market. That it has only been bull market forever, and we've never had a real bear market. Just because, and it was basically taking the idea that we just don't have enough data to support real market trends in crypto, and it's been pretty much just trending up forever with lengthy dip periods, and we're calling the dips a bear market. I think it was mostly a semantic interview.
Yeah, sure.
Or a semantic argument, just because we sure multi-year dips could be called a bear market, or you could just zoom out even farther and just say we've been in a 15-year bull market with Bitcoin. But it was interesting because if you say it that way, then we don't really have. Compared to the stock market, we don't have enough. Enough data, and we've never been through an actually truly devastating economic collapse with crypto existing, like we saw in 2008 or previously.
Yeah.
So it's intriguing to see, especially.
So you said there was another negative news story on the docket today. I think you said that by way of segue.
European Parliament approves a ban on anonymous crypto transactions.
How are they going to enforce that? I wonder.
That's a great question. So basically, it's the usual anti-money laundering and counterterrorism financing laws. A majority of the European Parliament's lead committees have approved a ban on anonymous cryptocurrency transactions made through hosted crypto wallets. So that's a weird distinction. As part
hosted
of
wallets, meaning KYC wallets, in which case wouldn't they be not anonymous?
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah. Okay.
There must be more to that because
this is okay. So the new AML legislation approved on the 19th of March applies limits for cash transactions and anonymous cryptocurrency payments. Under the new rules, anonymous cash payments over 3,000 euros will be banned in commercial transactions, and cash payments over 10 grand will be completely banned in business transactions. So this is like actually this is kind of intriguing because it's just a business piece of legislation that affects business that includes crypto. It's not. This is not crypto regulation. They've just like made an inclusion for cryptocurrency payments inside of a general AML and counterterrorism financing law expansion, which actually one could make the case is a bullish sign that crypto is just straight up being included in the conversation when the actual story here is about business transactions in currency. So I'm gonna actually say that an impressive. I'm a little bit impressed by the setup here because it's not just. So yeah, the headline is a little misleading. Way to go, crypto briefing.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, this is really interesting.
Yeah, the fact that they're, regulate. This sounds like to be filed under helpful regulation. Like,
Yeah,
it's so foreign to us when somebody attempts to include crypto in a regulatory conversation in a way that is probably helpful. That how do we talk about it any other way than bad? Wouldn't it be great to have regulators who cared about keeping consumers safe in the crypto markets, but not solely at the cost of their agenda versus ours?
well, it basically this is regarding transactions of monetary value in excess of 3,000 for crypto or 10,000 for cash. And what's interesting is people in crypto will constantly just complain about not having coherent regulation, and then like a rule is made and everyone loses their mind. And granted, there are stupid rules. The double taxation of crypto income is horseshit, for lack of a better word. But I don't know. I think that this one is a little bit encouraging. To me, this makes me think that someone is actually trying to think about this in like a semi helpful way.
Sure, sure. I like that. I do like that. So let me reset the room just real quick because we got a couple of comments that I want to address. We Alex and I are here Monday through Thursday. We work in the crypto industry. We're good. We're good colleagues, friends, pals, all of it. We want to help you get your head around crypto, and we just finished doing a little review of a couple news stories, and we talked about how the conversation today has been. Let me back up. Usually, what we do here is we answer audience questions and we bring topics to you that will help you understand the crypto space a little better. Um, so, if you've got a crypto question, it can be as simple as Ryan's question here, just starting but don't know much. Is Bitcoin a safe place for the long term? We can talk about it. And we've had a couple questions about decentralization today, like Dan, who just came in. I think that really will be our topic of conversation. What we're about to do is talk about what does decentralization really mean? And what does it mean for a crypto company, product, service to be decentralized? What is sufficiently decentralized? Alex and I were going to look at a couple examples maybe to kind of walk through them for you. I was going to suggest Warpcast and Farcaster, but Dan, if you're building a decentralized application or you're working in a decentralized app and you have some specific questions about it, maybe you can tell us what app that is. If it's one we're familiar with, we can work with it. If not, maybe Warpcast, Farcaster, which are integrated in decentralized ways at different stages. I think they're a really good example because there are some things they do that are super centralized. Um, but let us know. Let us know where you're at. Let us know what questions you have. And as we walk through this example, if you have more questions that we don't get to, that you can't type out in this character limited chat, I want to invite you to go to the riseupmorningshow.com. There's our YouTube channel there. There's our Discord community there, our newsletter there. All of it is free, and especially the Discord is going to be an easier way for you to like send us a message with a question you might have and throw like a link in there to something. If you want us to take a look at it, maybe we can prep it for a future show. Character limits in TikTok, you know how it is, but we're going to do our best. And before we segue to that, I do just want to address Ryan and say, welcome. Thank you for being here. If you're new, thank you for being here. If you're old, thank you for being here. We love you too, obviously. It's a good question, and it's one a lot of people have. Is Bitcoin safe for the long term? And what I would say is, listen, man, we're not here to tell you what to do with your money. We are here to help you understand which investments, whether it's an investment of money or an investment of time and attention, make the most sense for you and your goals. If you're interested in learning about cryptocurrency, there's probably no better place to start than Bitcoin because it's been here the longest. There's the most data for it. There's a lot of support for it as a service, especially for people who maybe are not too versed in technology, in even traditional finance. A lot of people will make it easy for you to understand Bitcoin in a safe way. Having said that, before you buy Bitcoin, I would recommend investing a little attention in what it is, reading the white paper if you have time, Googling Bitcoin white paper. It's not a terribly technical document, and it really can help you understand why people are willing to pay for this thing that doesn't physically exist. And we have talked about it in a couple of other places. Number one is YouTube. Someone else asked about YouTube. What's our YouTube channel? It's Faceless_Labs. I'll put it in the chat in just a second. Faceless Labs. Just search Faceless Labs crypto. We have Web3 101 videos there. We have all the previous episodes of the Rise Up Morning Show there. We have some long form interviews with a couple of movers and shakers in the industry. And we're going to start doing more of this. This week, we've got a couple of short form explainers coming, like 20-minute videos about how to read a blockchain explorer, the most essential skill you need to have if you're going to be in cryptocurrency. So, Ryan, there's a lot of catching up to do. But the short-term answer is yes. I think Bitcoin is here for the long term. Enough people participate in the Bitcoin network that it's the biggest computer in the world. Enough people participate in trading Bitcoin, even countries, that it would be so unlikely for it to go anywhere without you noticing it was going somewhere first. And to answer the question we always get, what if the whole internet went down? First of all, brother, we'd have a lot bigger problems than that. And funnily enough, you could actually trade Bitcoin totally manually offline. So in many ways, it's a more robust, reliable solution than the cash we rely on now. And certainly than something like gold, which could you imagine trying to send gold across, overseas or carry it around with you in an apocalypse situation? Yeah. So that's my short answer. Do you have anything to add to that, Alex?
No, it's a risky investment on a shorter time scale. Obviously it just made a new all-time high, so anyone who has ever at any point in history purchased it, was in profit for a brief period there. And as the years go on, it becomes, not less and less volatile, perhaps, but less and less of a risk of it just disappearing and going to zero or something. So Bitcoin is the one where, I'll take a little bit, I'll put a little bit into it, and I'll kind of tuck it away, and it's never on my radar to get rid of because, no matter where this thing ends up, I know that I would like to have some of it. And I've always thought, even going back, 5-6 years ago now, I've always thought like, even if everyone decided that we weren't going to use this for anything significant, and since then a country has adopted it as federally recognized national currency. Even if it would still probably be a collector's item just because it's cool and there's not that much of it. So, theoretically it would still have value even so. So, is it still a volatile investment? Yes. Could it still drop in price significantly? Yes. But I think it's certainly the least risky thing you can do inside of an overall risky investment space, like crypto.
Yeah, and Ryan, you mentioned being intimidated by the process. I think a lot of people feel that way, and that's the number one reason why we're here. We have a lot of resources we can point you to for sure, but the first one I would suggest is Alex. Do you remember what day it was last week that we were looking at Coinbase specifically? I think it was Wednesday because I had to go. I had the hard stop, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So Wednesday was March. I don't know the days. 19 maybe 20. 2021, 22. Wednesday. We have an episode up on YouTube right now, and I'm going to put it in there now, the YouTube handle, just so you can see it. And we walk through the process of buying crypto. Before you buy crypto, there are a couple of things you really should understand, which is number one, how are you going to store it? Number two, how can you turn it back into cash? And what's it going to cost you along the way? There are many different kinds of options. And I think that's also the show where I talk about River. I recently discovered River. I switched over my recurring Bitcoin buys to River. 0 fees on recurring buys, 0 fees on withdrawal. The show is not sponsored by them. It definitely could be. And I'm an affiliate partner, so I have a link in my bio that you can use to earn extra rewards and stuff. We talk about all of it on Wednesday. You shouldn't buy any of it until you feel comfortable. And there are lots of good resources out there. If you don't find them, get at us in the link in our bio. Come hang out with us more. You're not going to miss out on this stuff because you don't buy in right now. I promise you. Take your time with this stuff. It's not going anywhere. It's absolutely not going anywhere. And we cover that. We cover in that particular day an overview of how to move some money on an exchange and a decentralized exchange, how to turn it back into cash, the kind of fees you're likely to encounter. But we'll be here. We'll be here. So if you continue to have questions, come back and ask us. Yeah. Let me put the YouTube in the chat. Give me just a second. And there was a comment I wanted to catch up on from Lucas, who had asked us a question about decentralized dev coins. Just a second. Faceless. And hey to Tori. I saw, Tori, that you're listening. I saw that you're away from your keyboard, and I saw that you maybe are turning in a 2 weeks notice. Is that what you meant? If that's the case, good luck. Be of good hope and faith and courage, and I hope in response they beg and plead and offer you $1 million to try and keep you. Tori is one of our longtime friends and community members. We hope everybody who's here, will be here, for the long term with us. We really, really appreciate it. A lot of great folks in our community. I saw Machiste pop in. Machiste might be more well connected than us. Where did it go? This conversation room. Lucas, send me a comment. Let me know if you're in here. Alex, let me read you. Lucas was saying about. Do we have an opinion about dev coins on decentralized apps? And I asked what specific apps. I was thinking maybe that Lucas was talking about, like, the fake tokens you can spend as a developer, to test your app, get them from a faucet. But then Lucas clarified, no, maybe what's the best decentralized app in your opinion, and maybe some tips how to. A lot of people won't participate because lack of is what I'm asking. And I think it's just the character limit getting in the way. As I said, we're going to talk about, maybe looking at some projects, what makes them decentralized. And I'm good to start with Farcast or Warpcast because I think it's a really good example. I've got some docs pulled up, if that's cool. Unless, Alex, do you have a project that you want to start with that's your darling for this example?
No, take it away.
No, okay. Then this is going to be a helpful conversation for everyone. Ryan, this is going to be helpful for you because beyond Bitcoin, it's going to help you understand why this stuff matters. So everybody throws around that buzzword decentralization. They say our network is the most decentralized. Crypto is decentralized money. What does decentralized even mean? And why, as Alex might say, are some people willing to die on that hill of decentralization? Decentralization essentially means that if you think of our whole thing as a circle, power in many systems is centralized. It's accumulated at the center of a circle. If you have a king of a country, that person has the most power. And then, their courtiers, and then the elected officials in the government, and all the way at the edges of the circle with the least amount of power, where everything kind of trickles down in a trickle, are, the peasants, the serfs. You might say that's the way power works in a capitalist economy, in even a democracy like the United States. The people with the most power are at the center of the circle. The same is true for Facebook and Amazon. If one day Mark Zuckerberg wakes up and decides to do something with that company that is different than the commitments it has made to its users, there's really not that much that you and I can do about it. If Facebook's infrastructure, which is centralized, the servers where it keeps its data, goes down, there's not much you and I can do about it. So we can talk about centralization of power, of resources, of infrastructure. And for our purposes in crypto, we're talking about money and data. the data that somebody like Facebook controls in their servers is centralized in a couple of places, and there are some trade-offs there. Alex, in terms of like just data, what would you say are some of the like key points on that spectrum? Centralization over here, decentralization over here. They both have perks for everybody, and they both have trade-offs. Can you just help me unpack some of them? What would you say some of them are for a centralized system? The perks.
Like a perk of a centralized system?
Yeah, what's a perk?
They are almost always more user friendly. They are typically they have a much lower barrier to entry. They are better to learn on. Like I would never say that someone should go from zero experience in crypto straight to trading trading random tokens on Uniswap via MetaMask as your first ever attempt. So user experience. Another thing included in that too is it's less responsibility. It's less to know. It's less to learn right away. I really fundamentally disagree with the excessive demonization of any centralized service by people who are in crypto, because first of all, they use centralized services every single day. So while they're screaming about it and making you feel bad for using them, they are also using them every single day. And no one has a choice. There is no way to off-ramp cash out of crypto without using one. So they can straight up fuck right off for guilting everyone out of using a centralized exchange. But maybe you're interested in crypto, but you're not quite ready to assume full custody responsibility of all of the money that you want to put in it. So you're okay with Coinbase helping you a little bit while you get started. It's a publicly traded company. It's an FDIC insured financial institution. They have a ton of services and products. I don't know. I've never been down with the demonization of it. Personally, I enjoy decentralized stuff, but not to the point where I think the people who whine about that are the same people who complain about like manufacturing practices from their iPhone 15.
Sure. Well, and I think the thing that they're upset about is, if I had to drill down to it, it's a values thing. Thank you, Mr. President. I love saying that. It's a values thing.
It's my favorite.
If you start a system and the base layer is centralized, it's really hard to build open, decentralized protocols on top of it, because at the very bottom, there is one agent or entity who can pull the plug or switch. I think what a lot of people who are decentralization maxis would agree they are ultimately saying is that it is the base foundational layer of a thing that is most important to have open and free.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, I am a big fan of decentralization. Like, I think it is a goal to strive for,
Sure.
but not to the point where I think that you should feel bad because you're using Coinbase and you like using Coinbase and you're like, I'm going to stay here for a while. I'm comfy.
Yeah.
Good for you. I use them every single time. Everyone does. That's my point. Every single person who is in crypto uses a centralized exchange. Every single one of them. And if they say they're not, they're lying to you. They are 100% full of shit.
The internet they use to access it is mostly stored on a handful of companies' servers and enabled by a handful of networks.
It's mostly stored on one company's server. It's pretty much all stored with Amazon. So
yeah, Amazon, Infura as a linker of information and people, and like Alex said, like that's a good thing in the sense that when one company or entity is doing it, they can make it easy. They can make decisions quicker. They don't have to ask everybody for opinions. They can reach consensus. They can move faster. And because they are a custodian, it is convenient for a lot of people. Because Facebook is storing your username and password, they can make it easy to reset it if you forget it. You don't have to be responsible and remember it. The downside, of course, and let's stay in social media, because if we're going to talk about Farcast or Warpcast.
But the downside is the same as that upside. And so that's why really the only thing that matters is proper representation. Like,
when you say the same, can you clarify?
You just said that the upside is that decisions are simpler and faster because the whole thing is controlled by a single entity that can just act in the best interest of the user. However, that is also the downside, that decisions can be made quickly by a single centralized entity who are making decisions on behalf of the user. And it's really just a matter of whether or not you trust that entity. But at the end of the day, you have to trust. That's kind of the crux of the difference here, right? Is trust versus trustless. And so, sure, maybe we love Coinbase as a company and we trust them to make good decisions with their platform, and we trust them to make good decisions on behalf of the user. But at the end of the day, you have to trust them to do that, because that's how the system works.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing: when you have to trust somebody, because these entities, they have the power, the incentives are not aligned for them to make commitments to you. Even if they are intentioned, they're well intentioned, because they have so many choices every day, eventually they will be incentivized to choose against your interest in favor of theirs. Your interests are often competing. On Twitter, you can be deplatformed. If you start to attract the kind of attention Elon Musk does not like, he can at any time decide to kick you off.
Well,
You
no,
don't
not
have a lot
Twitter.
of
You're
flexibility
forgetting.
when you're negotiating. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Not Twitter.
Not Twitter, dude.
Twitter's the free speech platform, Evan.
Not Twitter, dude. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. But they have this terms and conditions you have to agree to. You don't have any flexibility to negotiate. And it is so not in your favor. Like, it is so imbalanced. There's just really not much you can do to change the tide of it. So at the base layer, it is centralized. Some things about it are good, some things about it are bad. That's one of those bad things. You can be deplatformed. You don't own your followers. You can't take them with you. The promise of blockchain, broadly speaking, is code that can make a commitment that a person can't. If it is Twitter, but on the blockchain, and there are these series of rules and agreements that can make commitments, it's computer code running itself, then it can make a promise to you that you will never be deplatformed. It can make a promise that there will only ever be 21 million accounts or whatever. And no one person, no Elon Musk, no anybody can gain enough arbitrary power to change it because they feel like it. All of us as collective participants in the network can decide to change it at any time, but it will take a majority of us. And so we are incentivized to act in a way that curries favor, maintains the network, to cooperate instead of compete. And when I talk about Warpcast or Farcast as an alternative to Twitter, I think it's a really great example of sufficiently decentralized. Machiste said it in the comments there. For people who don't know, Farcaster is a protocol, meaning it is a layer upon which other things can be built. It is open. It is built on blockchain. It is decentralized. They build on the Ethereum network, the Optimism network, so that people can write code that makes commitments, arbitrary pieces of code. Write me a program to send money to my friends. Write me a program to post pictures on the internet. One of the programs that has been built on top of Farcaster by the Farcaster team is called Warpcast. And it's basically Twitter, but make it crypto. Um, Looks the same, acts the same, but your posts, they go on a record on the blockchain. They, in this way, can be ascribed to you, to your account. They can be shared, they can be liked, using small amounts of cryptocurrency to verify that they were shared or liked by a particular user. People can maintain their anonymity, but also guarantee that what is said can be traced back to them. Um, I'm being real high level here. We can get into all these things if you want, but it's a really interesting mix of centralized and decentralized. One of the criticisms that they have, Dan Romero, the founder, he was an employee at Coinbase, which is pretty centralized. But he shared recently, and I would recommend this. Let me say, if you want to learn more, do a deep dive on Warpcast Farcaster, the sufficient decentralization of that network. I highly recommend the Unchained podcast with Laura Shin. She interviews Dan Romero, the founder. It's a fantastic conversation. And he talks about the goal to get Warpcast to 1 billion users. And he says that in order to do it, they are doing some things in a centralized fashion that they hope to decentralize over time. They kind of had to pick and choose. And one example of where they decided to be kind of centralized is that they have tried to make the best user experience of any crypto app. One of those things is enabling password reset. Dan Romero said just recently that they crossed over 5,000 on-chain recoveries for Farcaster. He says, I learned at Coinbase, mainstream users forget passwords, but we want Farcaster to be
I do it every
self-custodial.
day.
Yeah, exactly. But we want Farcaster to be self-custodial, meaning you hold on to your username and password. Don't lose it. So we've implemented 2 layers to help people keep their account. He says, first of all, when you sign up, we generate a new mnemonic, a seed phrase, in the background and attach it to a passkey. And that passkey, it stays on your local device and it's encrypted in your iCloud. You don't need to write it down like MetaMask requires you to do. Most people don't. Even if you lose access to this passkey, the Farcaster protocol allows for a second address to be able to transfer this account to your new address. So they've created this backup account in the event that you should forget your password. This is set to default by Warpcast users. So if you sign up, that's how it is. But if you're a crypto maxi and you don't like that, you have the option when you sign up to change it and say, no, I can be my own custodian. It's an on-chain password reset like Coinbase does, but it's totally user controlled. You have the permission to consent to it or not. And I think this is an example of something that is sufficiently decentralized. It's centralized if you want it to be, but it also gives you the option right up front, and it's very transparent and very clear about it. Farcaster and Warpcast, they do that kind of layering thing in a lot of places. They also have some really sophisticated on and off chain solutions for like your user identity. It starts off as a user ID that is tokenized. They hold on to it, but you can send it to your ENS address so that it's yours forever. Many other kinds of layers like that. Maybe that's a good place to stop because I see the chat is going nuts and I don't want to be a bad steward of that. And I also want your opinion, Alex. Would you say, just from that overview or from what you know about it, that Warpcast is sufficiently decentralized? Are there red or green flags? Because to me, that sounds kind of like your cup of tea. Giving users the choice, but also being user friendly.
Yeah, I mean that's simply the direction that these protocols need to move to actually get adoption. I've not used it enough to have like a fully baked out opinion on it, but I need to like sit down and do more.
Yeah, I think you'll really like it, and I need to do more too.
I
Commented about their wallets. Everybody has a wallet, even if they don't know it. All they do is click a button, and it makes me think of
Yeah.
It makes me think of what we've been talking about for years.
Yes.
What we're doing with like Shades of Sin. You don't need to know you got a wallet. You don't need to know it's an NFT, but it is.
It's not. No, it's not important. You need to be represented on chain, and then you need to have the option to take your stuff and leave. That's the thing that makes something Web3. Like if you can opt out, that's it. It's Web3. That in my
Web3, baby. Yeah, it's a really good example. It's super easy to jump into, and another kind of point of contention is there's this fee that comes up front when you sign up for an account. And I actually am not entirely sure of all the conditions because I think some people don't have to pay it and some people do. I think it's when you claim a username or something like that. It's like a $7 fee. It's a one-time fee, and you can also pay down the line to purchase storage. People have become used to this idea that social media is free because they are the product. Facebook is free to you because they're selling your data to advertisers. It's not truly free, though you don't pay out of your pocket for it. You are paying for it. This service, at different intervals, imposes a fee on you to do things like pay for the gas you will use on their platform, to tokenize things if you want to in perpetuity forever. It's a very small fee considering what you get. I think it's like $7 or maybe $11 or something like that, and it's one time, not like the recurring Twitter fee, which, by the way, doesn't get you any of those benefits, from which you can still be deplatformed, right? So you're paying for the privilege to own your stuff. And you can, if you're a prolific user and you're minting everything, and you got 100,000 followers and you're engaging with them all the time, I think you can buy more storage. And I do believe the storage is limited. I've heard Dan Romero say as much. I don't remember the limits, and I don't know enough about it to interrogate it helpfully, to raise skepticism properly without just being a hearsay. So please do check out the interview with Laura Shin, Dan Romero on Unchained. Warpcast, awesome protocol. Wait, one last thing. I got to say one last thing about it. They have a feature called Frames, which is where you can essentially create a product and put it on the timeline. And if it achieves virality, you've got like 100,000 users using your Web3 thing. On Twitter, if you want to promote something or advertise something, you got to pay for it. On Warpcast, if I make a little widget that sells Girl Scout cookies, and there's a button for you to buy a box of Girl Scout cookies and send crypto to my wallet to make the order, not only can anybody share that, anybody use it, but anybody can like build on top of it, copy paste it essentially. And it will always show the relationship between their application to mine. And it will also not inhibit anybody from building that kind of thing. Already their feature Frames has shown impressively unprecedented potential for innovation versus similar kinds of applications on, if Instagram if a user wanted to build a new share feature, they'd have to call the devs at Instagram. They'd probably have to get a job there first. They'd have to pass all kinds of background checks, and maybe 6 months later we'd ship the product. But anybody can ship any kind of product that they think will improve this social network on the network. And it's up to the users to decide what's valuable or not. I think that's tremendously cool. But like I said, if you want to learn more about Warpcast specifically, you've got to check out the Unchained podcast with Laura Shin. Fantastic episode. Great questions about what is sufficient decentralization. And it's like, 45 minutes. Hella brief. I can put it in the show notes. And it'll go in a newsletter when we send another one eventually.
Was just doing one more little headline check to see if there was anything else before we moved on. And what just makes me laugh is so Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah. So you might recognize that he is like I don't know, how would you describe his attitude on Bitcoin, Evan?
He kind of reminds me of Kramer, or somebody who's like, his sole attitude towards it is, how can I make money on this?
Yeah.
Beyond does he like it or not, it's how can I make money on it? But he's taken the position of this kind of Bitcoin evangelist. He's not really one of us, I don't think, but he's like, he's a charlatan who wants your money and wants to tell you a little about Bitcoin in order to make you buy his course. That's my impression.
I just, so he's gone like kind of hot and cold on it before.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just think it's really funny that right now he's basically FOMOing in at the top.
Is he really?
Yeah. So he's declared that he's going to add theoretically 10 Bitcoin to his personal portfolio by April because he believes it will be $100,000 by September. And I just
red flag anybody who's giving you price by date.
Yeah. We've seen that from the likes of BitBoy and many other crypto influencers before who have these crazy price targets, and they do all of this public setup to prepare themselves for that price target. Their on-chain activity suggests they don't truly believe in it themselves. And then when it doesn't happen, they're like, hey guys, anybody can be wrong. But oh my God, if they're correct, you'll never hear the end of it. You will never hear the end of it. So I just think it's funny that Robert Kiyosaki, who's been just shit talking it for the entire bear market because he wasn't making a lot of money on it in the bear market. And he's constantly like, he's been involved with it forever. But if I was to sit down and think to myself, like, do I think he really likes Bitcoin for what Bitcoin is, or the value of decentralization or blockchain or whatever, I'd say probably I don't think so. I don't get the vibe from him that he's like into it. Anyway, now he's like at a price of $67,000. He's adding 10 of them to his portfolio. What a fucking idiot.
Yeah, Problem Solver says he's owned Bitcoin from $1,000, and to that I would say, what a helpful claim for his empire. I would be interested in knowing what his public address is if he wants to prove it. That's no
Yeah,
problem. And I get
I
it,
would love to
that's a
see
valid
proof.
argument to say, like, I don't want to show you where my Bitcoin is, but also like some on-chain sleuth, if he keeps being loud about it, Zach XBT or somebody's going to find him
Yeah,
and verify. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Um, but he's um, I'm
he's
hot and cold on his advice. I think he has given some pieces of truly helpful advice, but mostly his agenda
sure.
seems to be to make himself richer.
Yeah.
And I think he could be more helpful to people who, are looking to him for learning, truly. Alex, can we real quick talk about cold wallets? And anybody in the chat, if you have experience and suggestions, you're one of our community members, please feel free to add context to this. But we had Ryan in the chat just asking, can we talk about cold wallets? And the TLDR is a cold wallet. Absolutely, for the most part, if you buy a Trezor, if you buy a Ledger, if you buy the Titan Elipal, though I don't have personal experience with it, I've seen it. I've heard a lot of people say it's fantastic. Looks great to me. I would recommend it. Um, all of those are devices that will allow you to interface with something that's online, but do it offline. They use Bluetooth technology a lot of time um, to keep your crypto safe. Your crypto is safest when it's on a device that never touches the internet. That, at its foundation, that's what a hardware wallet does. Thoughts, Alex?
Yeah, I think that someone was asking earlier. Ryan was mentioning earlier. Like when do you include one? The wow, what's the word I'm looking for here? The threshold, the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
point, the point in my crypto journey at which I was like, it's worth it for me to have one now, is when the amount of crypto that I was interested in holding for the long term exceeded the price of the wallet. I was not going to buy a $120 cold wallet to keep $40 of Bitcoin on when I was first just kind of trying to toe dip into it. And, is this, is this for me? What the hell is this stuff anyway? So I think when I had crossed like, $500 worth of stuff, I got my first one, but they are an absolutely critical piece of technology for anybody who is
Yeah.
interested in the broader implications of the Web3 and blockchain space. There are lots of good options. I mentioned Ledger, Trezor, Elipal, Arculus. There are more that I am not familiar with. I've used Ledger. I've used Trezor as my personal wallet of choice. I have friends that have used Arculus. I have friends that have used Elipal. I think there are, probably pros and cons to all of them. I've never used those two, so I can't speak to, how well I like their
No, I think
platform.
Elipal has like a nice screen interface. It tends to have like I think it's got the biggest screen of any of them, except maybe the
Yeah.
new one that Ledger did, the Stacks. And it looks almost like a phone, like a smartphone. So I think it's probably very user friendly there. Um, but I think it's mostly a matter of marketing. You know what I mean? Like Bud Light, Miller Light kind of thing. And I would say, just to add to that, while I see Alex is reading this comment, is if you feel like your crypto is at risk, you're starting to become concerned, and you don't have a hardware wallet, that maybe is a signal you should get one. You can get into crypto without one, for sure. And a lot of people do. I think the best case scenario would be to get one before you start. But you can keep crypto you purchase on an exchange like Coinbase for a week or two or three or longer. You are just accepting the risk in terms and conditions that while it's there, it's not truly yours. You own a right to it, but it's not truly yours. Um, the other thing I would say is we're talking about connections here. I want to be really clear about this because problem solver, you mentioned that your Exodus is linked to your hardware wallet. The way your hardware wallet works is when you do things online to buy crypto, maybe you're on Coinbase, you buy some Bitcoin, or maybe you go to Uniswap and you trade your Bitcoin for a new token that doesn't live on Coinbase. Maybe you want to invest in a meme coin. I don't know. You want to gamble in the casino. And in order to get liquidity, get some money to spend, you have to initiate a transaction that sends it from your hardware wallet. Maybe you got some Bitcoin back here that you want to get in a wallet that's online so you can put it on a swap or an exchange. Now, when you do that, you're going to use the app that comes with your hardware wallet to set up the transaction. That happens online. Then it's going to disconnect from the internet. There's going to be like a Bluetooth thing that happens just between the devices where a transaction will be sent to your hardware wallet that you sign with your private key. Remember, all the hardware wallet is, and Ryan, this is good for you, man. All the hardware wallet is, it is not the place where your crypto lives. Your crypto doesn't physically exist. It is data in a transaction on a ledger. What your wallet actually holds are keys. It holds your private key, which is the address which has the authority to use any crypto you own, and which can generate any number of public keys so that people, without needing to know your name or anything about you, can send you cryptocurrency. If you are approving a transaction from your device, you're using your private key like you'd use your signature to sign. That is totally safe. However, hear me on this. This is so important. When you set up your wallet, your Trezor, your ledger, you're going to get a private key. You're going to get a seed phrase. You're going to write it down somewhere. You're going to back it up. If you ever take that private key or that mnemonic phrase, that 12-word phrase, and put it into an Exodus wallet online, a MetaMask wallet online, to like load your crypto there, you can do that. That's the great thing about private keys. You can put them into almost any crypto interface and load your wallet. You know, my ledger gets destroyed. I can buy another one and use my private key, which I have written down somewhere safe and secure, to restore that wallet. If you restore a cold wallet online, MetaMask, Exodus, Coinbase, that wallet is now not as safe. It is now hot. It is touching the internet. So you can use hardware wallets with any service, but do not load your private key, your seed phrase, into something like MetaMask, Coinbase that is connected to the internet. Keep it on your device, keep it on your ledger, keep it on your Trezor, and keep it on that secret, safe piece of paper that you wrote down and tucked in your mom's favorite cookbook or wherever. Don't look through my mom's cookbooks. That's not where my seed phrase is. And there's not that much crypto there anyway, you guys. You know. So let us know your trips there, your tips there if you got them. Which cold wallet could withstand an empty attack? I don't know what an empty attack is. You mean like an attack attempting to drain my wallet? Well, the answer is all of them or none of them if you give up your private key. If Alex comes over to my house with really tasty vegan cookies and he's like, hey, bro, got some cookies for you. What's your seed phrase? What's your private key? Doesn't matter what wallet I have. If he's got that, it's done. It's over. Simultaneously, if you got my wallet, you can, do anything to it. You can pour hot coffee on it. You can play good cop, bad cop. You could slap up its mother. It's not going to give you that. I am the guy. I am the weak point, not my wallet. Yep. Unless you connected it to something like MetaMask, and then there's weakness there.
I also don't know what an empty attack means, but I'm assuming maybe you meant EMP, in which case the answer is none of them, but nothing can.
Yeah.
And in the event of a widespread EMP, my cold wallet is the last thing I'm going to be worried about, honestly.
Yeah. No. We're in survival mode then. I'm making fire with sticks, baby.
Yeah. No. It's that a widespread EMP attack is an apocalyptic event, right? The total grid destabilization. I mean, the last time there was minor grid destabilization, it was cold in Texas and people literally died. So anything widespread, I mean, everything is is going down. Like a few nerds in their crypto is not even going to register as like a noteworthy concern if the entire centralized banking infrastructure or even just localized is destabilized or knocked out. And I would even make the argument that even if there was a cold wall that was like, we're EMP proof, it's like, all right, cool, nothing else is. So
yeah, right. You
what's
guys went too hard.
so what's the point? I'm going to be more concerned about the fact that like all of a sudden water doesn't work, power doesn't work. The mobile communications networks are now down. Internet communications are either down or greatly hindered. Like we have so many bigger fish to fry than like, can I access my Bitcoin to sell it quickly if an EMP goes off?
I don't know, man. I don't know if we have an EMP and I'm up big on Nubcat, cat with hat, then I might need to sell it quick before it hits the fan.
And this is absolutely not to like minimize the concern, right? My point is just that like think about it big picture. A big ass EMP goes off, and think about how many other things in your life use power of some kind that are more important to you or more critical to your day-to-day life than your crypto wallet.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody asked, which hardware wallet holds the most tokens? And honestly,
Ledger and
they all
Trezor
hold enough. But I was really surprised when I Googled this question because I wanted to, get a definitive answer.
Yeah.
Coin Bureau, a reputable source of news, for the most part, for a question like this, has said as recently as February 26th this year that the best wallet is, I just lost it. This is like a way too long article. A wallet that I had never heard of before. BC Vault. That it's a convenient SD card backup, no seed phrases, encrypted SD card, and that it can do. Come on, let me do a Control F. Why did they write a 32-minute article? I will never know. Vault. The best hardware wallet for long-term storage is BC Vault, a truly unique and high. 2,000 unique wallet addresses, hundreds of chains, which significantly outperforms Ledger and Trezor, which I'm impressed by, I guess. That is a lot of chains and wallets. Wallets are for pocket money. Vaults are for safekeeping. That's their marketing slogan. I like that. That's somebody smart said that. But also, honestly, really, I don't personally know anybody who owns a Ledger, a Trezor, an Ellipal, anything that's like, man, I wish my hardware wallet held more tokens. For the most part, all the tokens that you're going to hold in a hardware wallet are tokens that you're probably not trading actively, that you plan to hold for a long time, and that have mostly established themselves well enough that if you're going to sell them, if you want to hold it on a hardware wallet, it'll probably work on just about any hardware wallet that you can buy. I think some brands maybe do more than others, but I don't know. Or they have different solutions. Like within Ledger, I always recommend the Nano X because I'm pretty sure it gives the most flexibility in terms of tokens. But don't sweat about it. That's not what you should be sweating about, I would say.
Yeah, Ryan, I know a couple people who are really big fans of their Ellipal. If you end up getting one, I'm curious to hear what you think about it. Just for the record, in case it influences your decision at all, they all stay offline. That's kind of like the defining characteristic of what makes a cold wallet. For example, like the Trezor that I use, everything is contained on the device itself, and it only works if you then plug it into, the receptacle of some kind. So like my laptop, I actually don't know if you can use them with your phone. I'd have to look. Evan, do you know off the top of your head?
Which one? I'm sorry, I was reading.
If Ledger or Trezor can be used mobily?
Yes, I know that Ledger can.
Ledger can.
I don't know about Trezor. But I would imagine it has an app also.
The point But the point is that the keys and everything stays contained on it. So the kind of cool piece about the whole thing is that at no point is the security information, the private key of your wallet, it does not ever leave the device. So even if you were to like need to do something with it and you took your Tracer, for example, to the public library, you could plug it into a completely malware infested public library computer and do the thing, and it will never communicate like with the computer in such a way to, reveal your private key like to that machine, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, let me do a double check real quick here and see. Does Titan LPAL, because that's the one you're thinking about, Ryan. And that would be what you need to know. Ledger definitely does. Yes, the LPAL app is designed to be paired with the LPAL Titan, compatible with Android and iOS. So if you got an Android phone, you got an Apple phone, should work just fine for you. Yeah, very cool. And I do think their device looks like probably the most user-friendly because it's the biggest. The Ledger, it's got kind of a small screen and it's okay, but it's got room for improvement there. And definitely listen to this comment. Do not buy one off of eBay or any third-party site. Only buy directly from the manufacturer, or if you're on their official website, which is ellapal.com, 2 L's, and they say these are the official licensed retail partners. Like, for example, Ledger has a partnership with Best Buy. It's totally fine to buy your Ledger from Best Buy and Amazon. Totally fine. Just make sure that you're clicking official links, that the URL is correct. Always want to double check those things. But yeah, that's absolutely safe. You could even probably go pick one up in person if they have that kind of option.
Yeah. Well, and these things always also come with the tamper seals. So that's another line of defense. No one thing by itself is indication of being totally perfect. But I know I had that conversation with Ledger itself a couple years ago because I saw, I think it was the Ledger store on Amazon had popped up, and I asked them about it, and they said, yeah, it's actually an authorized retailer from the store, not like you would want to make sure you weren't like buying refurbished Ledger Nano X. Something like that. But there are authorized third-party retailers as long as they are clearly listed on the manufacturer's website itself. Don't take anyone else's word for it. But the safest way to do it, just to like make sure you're definitely doing the right thing, is just from the manufacturer directly.
I just want to shout out my friend Carter in the chat there, our friend of the show, Carter, who knows how degenerate we are, and maybe knowing that I'm down worse than I would like on Nubcat, among other tokens in the meme coin casino, suggested I look at Amish butter token. And I do not suggest you do this, but I will say I have looked it up on Dex Screener, and it does check a lot of my boxes, except for the fact that it is only at it's 13 hours young, which is kind of old by my standards, a little old for me. And the liquidity is a little slow for me. I do appreciate that you are throwing me those Solana meme coins. I was hoping Nubdog would do better. After I saw what Nubcat did, I saw Nubdog early this morning and said, that's my horse. And so far, it has proceeded to just slow right down.
Yep.
The meme coin casino, ladies and gentlemen. I just don't know, man. Yeah, I think Amish butter token is a no from me, dog, unless the volume picks up a little more. $130 of volume in the last hour is rough.
Yeah,
so
not good.
Mowow says, I was recently concerned about the Apple M1 and M2 chips that can be compromised if the device is stolen. Alex, weren't we on a call together when you told me about that? And I looked at my computer, which is definitely 5 years old, surprise, and was like, no worries here. Has it been resolved, Alex? Didn't you say they were working on it, or no?
I don't think there is anything that you can do about it. Is the impression I got from. Let me see if there's been anything new about it.
How much more do you have to suffer before your God will show you any love? Even in my suffering, I would use language like, my God shows me love every day. And I would hope the same for you. And if not, may your suffering end, my friend, and may your love begin. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I love it when we get those comments. And Alex is like, thank God Evan's here because I don't know what I'd do with it.
Well, yesterday I had some of those, people passing out pamphlets come to the door, and I was just dude, no, I don't usually I like to argue with them, but not today. And like handed me a pamphlet and I just like folded it up and put it in my pocket, and they're like, oh, we also have a short video. I was like, no.
A short video now? They want you to like watch, do they pull out their phone like this?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I was just like, no. And they're like, oh, okay. No, goodbye. Not today.
That's wild, man. I would love to be in the evangelism meeting where they're like, and don't worry, if it's hard to talk to people about Jesus, we've made a video for you. You literally have no excuse. I had a great conversation at that birthday party I was at the other night. I had a great conversation with a gentleman who is a pastor there. And we got to talk a lot about, the idol of Jesus of Nazareth, and, how being a Christian often comes at the expense of acting as Christ might have to others. I won't belabor our friends with that, but I have a lot of opinions on it. And it was just a delight. It was a delightful conversation. Good morning, Art. Welcome. If you're just joining us, welcome. And hey, I also want to say, just since we're answering some questions and talking back and forth a little bit, sorry, anybody who's expecting the newsletter. The TLDR is we're fighting with Mailchimp right now, looking for another provider. Gonna get you a newsletter soon. And in the meantime, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, this is a fun time. We have great informal conversations here and drop a lot of knowledge together. But the best, briefest bits for people who don't have time to tune in every day, Angel, God bless you. You're here all the time. But I know you can't be here every single day. Tori, Carter, a lot of folks, Diber, Linda, you guys, it's tough to be here every day. We appreciate it. But if you want to get the TLDR, that's what the newsletter's for. Sign up at the link in our bio or at theriseuppmorningshow.com. And also stay tuned to our YouTube page because we're starting to do more short form, like 20-minute tutorial videos on some of the things that you ask us about often, that we talk about a lot. But they can get lost in the whole purvey of an episode where we're going back and forth on a lot of different things. So if you've got a topic, if you've got an idea, if you've got a suggestion, what I'd love for you to do is at that link in our bio or at theriseuppmorningshow.com, there is a link to a testimonial form. You can leave us your feedback, and that will be super helpful. It'll take you 30 seconds to tell us what you love about the show that we can share with sponsors or the many who've yet to join us. And if you have a suggestion for how we can make the show better, maybe you want to see us do another Rise Up After Dark show like we did last Friday in the evening U.S. time. Maybe this is a terrible time for you. Maybe you want us to do more, I don't know, in a podcast. Maybe you want us to interview more people. I don't know. Whatever it is that you want that would make the show more valuable and better for you, please leave it there because we're real receptive to your feedback. This is our whole goal, is to tell a better story about crypto, to do what your other favorite influencers won't. We do anything for love, but we won't do that kind of vibe. Just let us know. We're here for it. And later this week, we've got Alex. Can you tease who are we talking with? We're talking with Arcade. And who are they and what do they do? Why would anybody want to watch that?
Yeah, for sure. I'm still waiting to confirm which day they're gonna come. The CEO is at GDC this past weekend. So,
which I understand is a big deal.
It's a big deal. Yeah. I'm just, so with regards to really quick, the Apple chip thing.
Oh yeah.
I have a decent explanation. The explanation is pretty technical. It's a little over my head, to be perfectly honest, but I have the link. I'm just putting it in the general chat really quick if anyone wants to read it. But if you just Google Apple M1 chip crypto problem or something like that, you will find a gajillion pieces from Wired and all kinds of other, tech publications kind of describing what it is. Essentially, it's just like a way that you can break in and extract theoretically encrypted information from some specific Apple machines.
Ooh, sounds like a real hacker doing research right there.
Yeah. So here is, just put that in the general. But anyway, Arcade. Yeah, I'm trying to get Arcade, the team, the CEO, and one other person to hop on the show at some point. It's a Web3 gaming thing. The basic gist, the bumper sticker for the project, is it's a way for casual gamers or even non-gamers to still earn and profit from the rewards and the fruits of the labors of like diehard gamers. So, for example, if there is a Web3 game that has launched and there's like a really cool reward or something that you would like to qualify for, but you don't have 24 hours a week that you can spend grinding on this game to earn the reward, Arcade is building a platform wherein you can participate in a mission pool to support a gamer to go do that for you, and then all of the people in that pool get to kind of share the rewards. So it's a cool idea. It's definitely a gaming / DeFi, GameFi, if you will, play. One of the newer projects that's coming out. Their token launches next month, I think. It's just seems interesting. I was able to get into the pre-sale round, and instead of making me make some weird scammy sounding video on my channel, I offered to interview them on the show and let them explain it for themselves, and they were super into that idea. So me and Evan are going to ask them a bunch of questions. You guys can ask them a bunch of questions, and we'll see what they have to say for themselves.
Yeah, it's our favorite kind of thing. We'll hold their feet to the fire.
So
hopefully not scare them.
I wish I could tell you which day it's going to be, but we will certainly announce as soon as we do know, and then I'm going to confirm with him again this morning here, and then of course it'll be on YouTube after the interview and all that good stuff.
Nice. So I'm really still so shooketh by the newsletter. I have to tell you, I'm still so upset about that. I was trying to think, could we synopsize it for people today who missed it? And the only section that I thought might be worth sharing, which is like the most timely, is some of the different tokens and things that our friends are watching. And we can talk about this in 30 seconds. If you haven't seen it, Faceless Labs is all your favorite influencers are going to tell you what to buy. And our goal is to try and expose you to lots of different things so you can see all the different sectors that are here, and investments that don't even require any money. Like, how can you invest with your attention by going on a platform like Warpcast and networking with people who are working at base, who are building the next big protocol? Like, that's 1,000x investment if I've ever heard of one. But we like to talk about what our folks are looking at, and that's probably the most timely information we have. So if that's interesting to you, we're glad to share it. Maybe we can post it in the Discord. Maybe we could even post the newsletter in the Discord as like just a copy paste in the meantime. Let me know what you think about that, because like I said, it's all the briefest bullets from our show last week. You don't have to sift through the episodes on YouTube. You just kind of can get them. This is what we talked about. Here are the links. That might be a good idea in the meantime. My question is on how to buy BRC20 coins. It seems archaic, and I feel I am doing it wrong. I'd love to help you. I don't think you're probably doing it wrong. You're talking about Bitcoin. Are those ordinals? BRC20, is that the ordinal protocol?
Yeah.
Am I nuts?
Yep. Huh? No, that's right.
So if there's a particular token you're interested in, the best place to go is going to be their official website, their Twitter page, and just a quick read-in for anybody who's not hip to this. There are two protocols that made this possible. The BRC20 standard to do this kind of fungible. They're technically fungible tokens, but they are made provably unique. on the Bitcoin network. They are little bits of Bitcoin that have been inscribed with other kinds of data in a transaction on the blockchain that is immutable, that distinguishes them from one another. The very first time this happened was with something called colored coins years ago in the Bitcoin network. But the Taproot and Ordinals protocols made the standard possible. I would recommend that you do a Google search for Ordinal protocol if you want to learn a little more about this, and you're going to find plenty of good links. But just generally speaking, there are a couple of different wallets that I know are going to work for you. Give me just a second. The best resource is going to be brc-20.io. brc-20.io. They're going to have resources for all the different top tokens. They're going to have resources for how you can create your own BRC20 tokens. And then they have some educational resources there too. Because hang on, I have to go look up. I don't hold any BRC20 tokens. I don't trade with them. I know a little about it because this is our job, but I haven't played around and bought any yet. I think it's an area for a lot of growth. Our colleague Mihir has been messing around with them, and honestly, I think while they were like trendy a couple months ago, and the community is divided on them, I think they'll probably see there's a tension there. It's like Dex Screener. When they put a token as number one trending, people are going to go look at it. Ordinals are a trending topic of conversation. I don't think they have as much utility as like NFTs on a layer 3 network could have one day to tokenize real world assets and stuff like that. I think they're kind of a novelty, but they're here. Alex, do you know something I don't know about that?
No, I was going to say too, same here. I've never transacted with, bought any, done any trading or whatever. I know I'm trying to think, Evan, I'm sure you can find the name of the exchanges that do it. Or, I mean, I know that OrdSwap is one, but I think that's mostly for NFTs.
Yeah, I think so too. But they're the BRC20 tokens. It's I don't have the best explanation for it, honestly. They are fungible, but they are also NFTs. They're not semi-fungible. They're not non-fungible. They are the NFTs. I think are the BRC20 tokens.
I'll say this: if there's interest in it, we should just do a day. But we need to do some reading before we can talk about it.
Yeah, we do. And the real resource, like I said, the Ordinals protocol. It was founded by a guy named Casey Rodarmer. I can check that. I'm pretty sure though. Casey Rodarmer. And this was like as recent as last year. It was 2023 when he did this. And he speaks a lot about it in many places, sometimes a little technically, but it's honestly, yeah, Casey Rodarmer. He's the developer of the protocol. Yeah. Users can track individual Satoshis, the smallest unit of Bitcoin, giving them numismatic properties, which is a fancy way to say that you can turn your Bitcoin into NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people think it's made Bitcoin kind of fun. Island for Good says, if you do options, I've got some options for you. Hey, I like options. I'm flexible.
Yeah, I think I remember when the ordinals thing was first coming off, and a lot of the Bitcoin maxis were like really angry about it, and I always thought that was so funny because they're all about like, freedom and censorship resistant networks and all that kind of stuff. And then someone did something that they didn't like, and they said, "No, destroy it." And I was just like, you guys need to pull your heads right out of your asses where they are firmly lodged and pull them down.
Alex, can you buy crypto through your wallet, or do you still need an exchange?
Yeah, so it depends on the wallet and it depends on the crypto. As with most things, the answer is that it depends. But most of them have some sort of an option to purchase at least something. But it depends which one you're trying to get and on which wallet. Like I said, I've never used a lot of them, but I know that through Trezor, I think I can buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and maybe one or two others. Ledger has a little bit more populated market, if I remember correctly, but I haven't looked at Trezors in forever, so maybe they've updated it. And then certainly Coinbase is not your only option. There are other exchanges as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm following up on this DWR comment here too, where DWR, you're having trouble selling. And when you click a site like Jupiter, can you give us additional context are you
Yeah.
able to connect to Jupiter to do selling and buying, or is it prevented somehow? Because
Yeah,
I think in the UK it
that's
should be all right.
that's what I'm curious about. Like how are you arriving to Jupiter? Because I don't, as far as I know, you can't go through Phantom. Like they don't have an onboard app. Do they?
No.
I haven't used it enough to
No,
probably.
Phantom holds your keys, and you can take. I don't believe you can buy directly from
Well,
Phantom.
I just mean that like X Portal, for example, started integrating DApps right into the platform, so you
Yeah.
could like through that.
No,
Um,
Phantom, you got to browse to it.
yeah. So you said, I mean, if something is blocked in your area, there's obviously like VPN options and stuff, but
Yeah. And something to know is every time you buy or sell crypto, whether you're paying gas, which is a fee the network imposes, there are other fees. You're going to have to pay what's called a spread. This will be familiar to people who are buying stocks that are trading options or other assets, which is the cut that the platform you're trading on adds to cover their expenses. Usually, these are pretty minimal, like single-digit percentages or sub 1% fees, but they really vary place to place. And they may also charge you like a service fee, a credit card fee. If you're, unfortunately, there's no one place that gives the best spread and best rates on every single token all the time. Um, and some of them charge withdrawal fees. The best thing to do, honestly, I would say if you have a question about a particular currency, like thanks to Antbro, who's helping out in the chat, adding that like Ledger has Ledger Live. If you know a place you like to go, that's something we can talk about in the chat. I like to trade ETH on this 0% fees or whatever. Because honestly, I don't think Alex does either have a solid monopoly on that information. That would be a great crypto resource for somebody to maintain as a public good. If there was a website that was like trade crypto free or tradecryptocheap.com, and they just constantly were aggregating and updating, like if you want to buy Bitcoin right now, this is the best place to do it, or whatever.
yeah. So
It'd be a good public service.
I just looked, and
Okay.
I've never used Phantom on my phone to do stuff. I use the browser extension because I'm always using my laptop for stuff because I like to have all my things open and big. But no, Phantom absolutely has a global DApp exploration in the mobile app, which is so pro tip. I had no idea. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So DWR, what you're saying essentially is that you can go through the Phantom mobile app, you can connect to whatever the dex is that you're curious about, and it will allow you to enter a contract address to find a token that you want and purchase it, but you can't sell it. Is that what I'm hearing? So you
Yeah.
couldn't then swap the two and then trade it back into Sol or out of whatever you had bought it from.
Now it's also possible. I wonder if this is a particular token because, like, if you're trading meme coins, for example, you may encounter the problem where a token has crashed so much in value, a token has been rugged, a token has
Yeah.
been whatever, that you are no longer able to sell it. In which
Can
case,
you
mostly it would not be worth it to sell it because it's like cost you more in transaction fees anyway.
can you yeah, I guess which token is it maybe, or do you know that they have the liquidity to support the trade that you're trying to make? Or like what error are you getting, or I guess what does it tell you when you try to make the swap?
Yeah, because we got the yes exactly and correct, but we said too much. No, I don't know what your response
We
is.
gave you too many options. And this is horrible to try to do inside of comments. If you're in our Discord,
Both shit coins. Yeah, if they're shit coins, I have some shit coins in my wallet that I just can't sell anymore.
yeah, I have a couple of those too that they have decreased so much that there is just simply nobody trying to buy them. So
And I have a couple that are trending toward that level as we speak, frankly. So
yeah, that's an option too. It is worth noting to make sure that there's like not something wrong with your wallet particularly. You could always try to do a quick swap in and out of a big supported one like Ray or like Jupe or something like that, on whatever the dex is that you're
or
looking at.
stables.
But it is typically not a problem with the bigger memes, just because there are people trading in and out of them. But if you're in like a super tiny little niche one with $0 in 5 minute volume and you're trying to make a swap, there's no one buying it. You're not going to sell it. There's no one who wants it, so it's not going to sell. That swap's just going to fail. It's going to time out, and fail.
Listen, man, I am still, speaking of failures, Nubcat with hat, gone. Ligma node, however, I'm still hanging on for this one.
Yeah, I saw that one. I'm
to our friends like Ryan who are asking about hardware wallets and, is Bitcoin a good long-term asset? Definitely don't go to the meme coin casino yet. This is not going anywhere. We are totally gambling because we're just having some fun with like a couple dollars on the side, and you'll see a lot of crypto people do this.
Anyway.
It's not a good time. Not a good time. It will always be there. So pardon me for talking about it because we're just goofing around.
Well, I mean, two or 3 weeks ago, every meme would at least go up a bit. So like you literally couldn't even it was so hard to lose. Just get one, and if you were comfortable taking a 30% trade, then you would make money and walk away. And now right now it is a total blind dart throw. And I mean, one of the ones yesterday that I was looking at had the perfect setup. It was like a topically relevant meme. It was hilarious. And it did everything that you would expect to see like before a big rip. And I, was trading up and up and up and took some good trades, made some good profits on it. And then it just very abruptly was no longer there. It just went straight to zero. And that's what happens,
Now, I will say, Dave's suggestion is a good one. I think I'm going to take it upon myself to do a little reformatting to the newsletter text, and I'm going to post it maybe in an announcement or something like that in our Discord channel. And in that newsletter, there are a couple of tokens that like our team is watching that I would definitely encourage you to just go research to learn about because they're in totally different places. Alex's pick was Soul Mail, trying to do direct wallet-to-wallet mail on Solana. Super cool. I mentioned AIT protocol, which has been trying to solve an interesting problem. I think there were 2 gaming picks from Joe and Mihir, Heroes of Mavia and Domi, that are both coming to like a beta soon. Or Mavia, I think, is the second most searched Web3. So like cool projects in a variety of sectors that you can go check out, that I think some of which, I think they may all have tokens if you want to get exposure to them as an investor, but none of which you need to invest in to profit from by learning. This is a great chance to like go to a Twitter, go see like what does a really active project look like that's not a total meme coin. AI, gaming, prominent narratives, and also wallet mail is going to be a huge utility in the future. Whether or not it's Soul Mail, somebody somewhere is going to figure out how to more sufficiently decentralize email so that Gmail doesn't have all your data and information and you can truly stay anonymous. You know what I mean? So we'll definitely post that there. And the way to get that is to go to the riseupmorningshow.com, which you can find through links in either of our profile, or just go right there, the riseupmorningshow.com, just like our show. And there's a link to join the free Discord server. I know Discord can be a little intimidating, so rest assured we're working on finding an email solution for this newsletter. But in the meantime, we hang out there. You can type long messages to us there in the general chat, and we'll pop the newsletter there and we'll tag everybody so that you can see that stuff.
I agree with Birudo. Meme coins are cool if you want to lose money.
Yeah.
I always say that if like Evan and I or the rest of the team is like, doing some meme coin trading, that I treat it exactly as if all of us took $50 and walked into a Las Vegas casino and had a couple beers and threw them into a slot machine and then walked out with nothing. I like $50 would be the price of my evening of entertainment with everybody. And that's 100% the attitude you need to approach it with, because the overwhelming odds are that you're going to walk out with exactly, 0% of what you went in with. But maybe you'll get lucky and that'll be a lot of fun.
And man, it really is like a casino. Once you go in, you're there for a minute. And when you get out, you're like, wow, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's day outside. It's night outside. Oh my, it keeps you there.
It really does.
Also, funny story. Our team. This is. I got to tell you, if you're watching this show, you're lucky, really truly lucky, which is like pales in comparison to how lucky we are to get to work together all the time, every day, to be in this community. Like the the moonshot we hit with Faceless Labs, it cannot be overstated. We've been here as a crypto company for like 3 years now, and we
Hmm.
were friends for just a minute before that. But like, to build a company in this industry with my friends that I have met in real life. Do you know the first time I got to meet everybody in real life was in Las Vegas, the city of my birth. And Michael and Mihir and I one night, in fact, actually did some gambling. And it was the least satisfying $50 I ever spent. We walked up to a roulette table, we pooled like 15 bucks together, and we made one bet. I think we put it on red, just red. It was a 50-50 bet. And 50 bucks was gone like that when it landed on a black number. And we were like, well, okay, all right, great. That was
Yep.
fun, I guess.
And we
But
tried. I forget. Maybe it was me, you, and Mac, or I don't remember. It was the thing. I was like, I'm in Vegas. I'm going to gamble something.
yeah,
Um, and so I think I took, yeah, $15 or $20 or something, and I was just trying desperately to bet it on some game, and I just couldn't do it. It just wouldn't let me, and like you had to like load it onto a casino card first, and I was like, fuck this, and I just left.
yeah, crypto is easier, is what it felt like.
The
But
meme coin casino is so much easier than the Vegas casino.
easier to lose money there, yeah. But
Yeah.
I just, I want to emphasize to you, like the viewer, how special and cool it is to be hanging out with a community full of people that has, extended from this group of friends that is not going to try to sell you anything except maybe a
Mug.
cool coffee mug you can drink along with as you listen to the morning show, uh, and is going to help you learn at every stage of the crypto journey. I feel like, I'm pretty well met for today. We've covered a lot of ground. I think you've asked
Agreed.
some great questions, and that's what I want to leave you with. Is like my final thought is like, you're early. Whether you're just learning about Bitcoin, you're just tuning into the Rise Up Morning Show, it is really like an up only journey from here. And the biggest investment you're making is in your knowledge, in your network. I know it's not gonna put 2 cents in your bank account this second tomorrow, but I promise you it will pay dividends in the long run. And you're early. You're in a good place. So, Alex, my friend, do you have any final thoughts, good jokes, words of wisdom?
Well, Matt, thanks everyone for hanging out, and we'll be back. We'll be back in the morning.
Same time, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, 12 p.m. UTC. Check out the Discord at the link in our bios and at the riseupmorningshow.com. I will be posting our newsletter from last week's shows today. It's going to have all the helpful links, little token picks, a cute POAP that you can claim totally for free and just generally enjoy. So until next time, my friends, thank you so much.